In the words of my friend Alexander Cousteau, our purchases now cannot be about consumption. We can't be consumers. We really need to think with each purchase about how we contribute to getting where we want our oceans to be and where we want our planet to be as we look to 2030 and trying to fight raising the temperature of the Earth to 1.5 degrees Celsius. And really, when I think about this, and I think about a dish, especially like this for special occasions, like this crab and spinach dip, we really can do just that. You know, crab season is in the wintertime. It's usually in December, January, February, and we're starting to see crab season get later and later and later. And part of the reason because of that is because of the whales. Whales are getting more and more entangled in crab pots, and we have to think about things like using technology in order to be able to help those crab fishers to be that much more sustainable. So I want to challenge you. This isn't just a recipe. Start to look into that. Look at the technologies now. It's incredible. Instead of crab pots with long ropes, now we actually have systems that can be used on their phone to detect where the crab pots are, to automatically help them rise to the surface. So we want to really think about this as we think about the crab we use and make sure that all of our marine mammals are healthy and safe in order for us to be able to have something that's delicious like this. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start off first with a little bit of cream cheese and some mayonnaise. Now, you can actually make this in the food processor if you want to, but I prefer just to use almost like a flat-bottomed wooden spoon, kind of like how we would mash a guacamole and a molcajete. I like to do this in a wooden bowl, and it really is a dump and do, let me tell you. So I've got the mayonnaise and I've got the cream cheese just mixed together, and then I'm going to add a couple of things to this. I've got Dijon mustard, a little bit of horseradish cream, and some cayenne pepper. Now, how much you add, what you do in order to have it be as flavorful as you'd like to be is kind of up to you. I prefer it to have a little bit more flavor. Sometimes I'll even add a little bit of lemon juice to it if I find that the crab is a little fishier in taste. I also have a little bit of half and half. We want this to be a little bit of a liquid so that when we bake it in the oven like a souffle, it'll just puff right back up. Combining that along with some shallots. And then as I mentioned, you'll need just a little bit of acid. In this case, I'm using white wine vinegar. Now the next thing is our spinach. And the spinach for sure could be fresh. You could quickly blanch it if you wanted. But I would contend that in a dish like this, the spinach that's frozen and chopped, as long as it's organic baby spinach, will be just as sweet and delicious. But you can see that a lot of moisture comes off of that spinach. So make sure that it's very dry before you put it into the dip. Otherwise, what's going to happen is it's going to kind of turn it all green and it'll make it watery. And then the last thing that we need is our crab meat. And again, we talked about that crab, so just make sure whatever you're buying, canned or fresh or pasteurized, that you know exactly where it's coming from and the way in which that crab was caught. Now, I'm just going to very lightly fold this together because this is it. We don't need to really overmix it or break up the crab. And then what vessel you bake it in is up to you. You could put it into a casserole dish, you could put it into a 9 by 9 inch square pan, but I want to keep it nice and warm when I set it out. So I'm either going to use something ceramic, or in this case, I'm just going to put it directly into the bottom of a pan. It has enough fat in it that it's not going to stick. I'm just going to put that in there, make sure we're getting every little bit. Fold that cream cheese in there. And you can see just all of that bright, vibrant color, the flavor. It's up to you if you want to taste it. Make sure that you've seasoned it with salt and pepper. But remember that it does tend to be a little bit salty given that we're adding the cheese. And then the last thing, I'm just going to dust this with a little bit of freshly ground pepper. I actually like to make sure that I've got a few little peaks in here. That way when I'm baking it in the oven, those little peaks will get crispy. We're going to top it with cheese, just a little bit of freshly shredded Parmesan cheese, and that's it. You can put this in the refrigerator, keep it if you like, even overnight if you want to make it ahead, and then it goes into a 375-degree oven for about 20 to 25 minutes. Check this out, a beautiful, crisp, browned spinach and crab dip, along with some toast. I've got a gorgeous little slab here, an herb slab. You could use ciabatta if you wanted. Pour yourself a nice glass of wine, and you have a delicious, sustainable appetizer that actually is part of the contribution that we need in order to have healthy oceans.